Hey, what's up, Lloyd?
Hey, what's up, Tom?
How you doing, man?
I'm real good, man. I'm blessed.
That's good, man. Thank you for taking the time for the interview. I appreciate it.
Hey, thank you for acknowledging that I got
No problem, man.
so.
I just want to talk to you first about your new album you got coming out this month, King of Hearts. Tell me about the title, where you came up with that.
It's just confident. It just comes from the confidence that I have in my talent and my ability to love a woman better than anyone who's ever loved her before.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about. It kind of really stems from the feeling that you get after sex, when you know that you knocked it out. You know that you just laid it down, and you just feel like you're on top of the world. You feel like the king of the world, the king of hearts.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Now that you're on this new label, this new situation, how do you feel your work, on this album will compare to your previous music you put out?
It's just got a lot to do with the people that I'm working with.
Yeah.
That's the biggest difference. I mean, other than that, I'm still the same young G. I'm just, still doing my thing. Basically, the way I've always done it, it's just a lot more refined and a lot more calculated now.
Yeah.
Which I do credit to not the change of labels, but just the change of the people that work at the label.
Okay, that's fair.
Because a label is a label. I mean, they're all the same,
Yeah.
It's about the people that inhabit the space.
Okay.
Yeah.
Polo the Don, who you worked with a lot on this album, he said this album is a classic, and he said it's going to change music. How do you respond to that?
Well, I can tell. I mean, if you know him, then you know how confident he is, and a lot of times that comes across as arrogance or, confidence, but he's one of the most confident people I've ever met, and I think that is that is something that I look forward to living up to.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. And I've heard you make comments in interviews saying you working with him is like Michael and Quincy. Talk about what it's been like working on this album with him.
Well, not like Michael and Quincy in the fact that that's what you're gonna get. You're not gonna get Thriller or Off the Wall, of course, because those will never be done that way again.
Yeah.
But you do get a consistency and a continuity that you can only get from working with a very, very selective group of people. And instead of spreading my sound around to a bunch of A-list producers, I decided to just get the best producer.
Yeah.
And do the whole album with one producer.
Yeah. All right. Cool. In terms of writing, I know you've always contributed writing to your previous albums. Will that be the case on this album as well?
Yeah, I'm a writer, producer, the performer. Sometimes I do all three, but with this album, again, it's not really rocket science. It's just a feeling, and if it feels good, then it probably is good. Just because I didn't write it doesn't mean that it's not a great song.
Yeah.
Or a great song for me, and that's all it's been about. That's all this album has been about. Is just trying to find what songs are the best for what we're trying to accomplish. Not necessarily who did it. Even with Polo, the thing I really admire about him is he's unselfish and he's very, very committed to music and what that represents.
Yeah.
The history of music. Where do we rank in a long line of like greats that is bigger than just our peers, and I think that we spend a lot of time listening to a lot of old records, and we listen to a lot of records that other people write or produce as well. And sometimes we record those.
Yeah. Okay, cool. You've already released 3 singles from this album, but I want to know, what's a song on this album besides the singles that you think when people hear it, they definitely they're gonna love it or they should look out for it. A favorite of yours.
Favorite song on this album?
Yeah.
Man, well, I'm still in the recording process, and every song that I record, I love. Is like my new favorite. But one that really stands out to me is a song that I debuted on tour with Trey Songz called Angel.
Okay.
Where I'm playing the piano, and it's really acoustic sounding. It's a really big song.
Cool. I'll look out for that one then. Tell me how you originally linked up with Polo, and became part of his Zone 4 label.
I mean, you kind of just know somebody for so long that you don't really remember the exact moment in time.
Mm-hmm.
But, being in Atlanta, of course, being on the scene in Atlanta, of course, it's a major city, but it's a real small circle.
Mm-hmm.
And, we crossed paths. We collaborated on one of my previous albums. I think it was Nothing in Love. We did a song called Party I Love Your Body and another song called Lose Control, which featured Nelly.
Yeah.
And we also worked on a song that New Kids on the Block recorded called Lights, Camera, Action.
Mm-hmm.
So, just working with him on the album. At the time, he was just kind of another one of the producers, the many producers who I was working with at the time. But about 2 years later, I hooked up with Polo in Atlanta. We recorded a track for Rich Boy,
Mm-hmm.
and it features Drake. It's called To the Floor. It's a great track, and it was our first time recording in a long time. And I just remember how good I sounded.
Yeah.
And I almost didn't sound like myself, and I wanted to. I remember feeling like, he's someone who brings out the best in me when it comes to recording.
Yeah.
And I can see us working together more. And not too long after that, he called and asked me to move out to LA and start recording the music.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it happened.
Nice. Okay. Looking back at your time spent on the Ink, you had 3 pretty successful albums. Do you wish things might have turned out differently, or do you just think the whole situation had run its course?
I have no regrets.
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't for where I was, then I wouldn't be where I am.
Yeah.
And I think more so important in feeling like something should have been different, or just dwelling on the past. I think that it's really important for me to just surround myself with positive people, and just work really hard, and to really make the most out of the opportunity that God has given me, and being able to make music, which is what I always signed up for. And a lot of what I learned from there, I still apply to this day. And a lot of the passion that was in my music, a lot of the rebelliousness, and pretty much, just growing up fast,
Mm-hmm.
being around the likes of Ja Rule and Ashanti and Gotti, at 17, and having access to, I really credit a lot of my growth to that.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I was also reading early on in your career as a teenager, you were part of the group N-Tune, but it ended up disbanding because of the merger with MCA and Geffen and all that. Was that whole situation discouraging for you as an artist?
Well, I was a kid, and all I knew was, I just want to make music.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't really thinking about label politics or you know what that means. It was really much simpler back then.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was discouraged a little bit, but you know, I felt really confident in my skills even when I was that young.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was really cocky when I was younger.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So, tell me about how you eventually went on to sign with Magic Johnson on his label. You know, how did that situation come about?
Well, my boy Dave Gates was offered the presidency, had assumed the presidency at the label, and he reached out to me and offered me a deal.
Mm-hmm. You know,
I also had other deals on the table at the time, but my relationship with Dave, who's someone I met through Dallas Austin when I was like 10, you know, I've been knowing him for a long time, so I just felt comfortable.
Yeah. And you know, you eventually moved from that situation to the, you know, Murder Inc. You know, how did that, you know, how did you move from one to the other there?
It actually happened pretty fast. Actually, I started recording music in Atlanta with Tricky Stewart and Jasper Cameron, and a friend of mine named Mark Pitts was in the studio working on Donnell Jones' album at the time. And Mark, you know, kind of seen me hanging out in the studio and just approached me basically and was like, "What you do, good nigga?"
Yeah.
And I said, "I make music." I said, "But you don't know who I am?" I was like, "What you mean what I do?" I do my thing, that's what I do. And I played the music I had at the time, which actually that CD had Southside, Hey Young Girl, and a few more songs that was on the first album. And he actually offered me a meeting with L.A. Reid in New York. Irv was also in New York, and a mutual friend of ours introduced us. And actually, I went to New York to meet both Irv and L.A., thinking that I would probably start with L.A., and I just really ended up clicking with Irv.
Cool. You've been the victim of having your songs leak on the internet over the past few years. You know, a lot of your material.
Yes, I have.
How do you feel about that?
I don't like pirates. You know, death to all pirates, man. You know.
Yeah.
But I would rather steal something like gold or you know, bloom before stealing somebody's music. You know, I just think that I think the same way that, you know, the way you feel when you hear the music or the experiences you have to the music, which makes you remember it. You know, it's kind of like it's so priceless. But really, it's the same thing for us when we make it. You know, to actually see the idea come together to be something that is special, and then to see people just kind of degraded.
Yeah.
You know, it is a little discouraging, but you know, that's just the state of music, man. I'm not gonna sit here and have to fuss and cry about it, about, you know, something I can't control. I'm gonna just keep doing my thing, and you know, my philosophy is if it's good enough, they'll buy it.
Okay, cool, good stuff. Is there anything you'd like to add?
Yes, King of Hearts coming out this summer, and some really cool music being released in the next few months.
Cool. You know, thank you very much, Lloyd, for the interview, and I look forward to hearing the album when it comes out.
Appreciate you having me, man.